Okay, today I'm going to teach you how to graph by hand. And when you graph by hand, it's going to kind of depend on what you're given, which technique you want to use to solve this. So if I'm given something like this, well, let's get the pen up first. There we go. Y equals x squared. Then this is our standard parabola. It's going to start with 0, 0, and it goes like this. Now, if you want to be more specific, you'd have to plug in numbers. So we can make a table. And we're going to make a table of values, x and y. And then we're going to just plug in numbers. So generally we want to start with numbers that are positive and negative. You want to try to get the vertex as much as possible. So you're looking for where the numbers go up and down. So I'm going to start with negative 2. We're going to go negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. And I did that because I know that 0, 0 is right here. So we're going to plug this in. If we go negative 2 squared, that's negative 2 times negative 2, you get 4. When you do negative 1 squared, negative 1 times negative 1, you get positive 1. 0 squared is 0. And then you got 1 squared is 1. And 2 squared is 4. So now you can go plug these in and you can plot them. So here's 0, 0. And then I need 1, 1. So at 1, we're at 1, which is right there. And at 2, we should be up at 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, which is right there. And on the other side, the same thing happens. At negative 1, we're right here at 1. And at negative 2, we're up here at 4. And as you can see, the parabola I drew before was just perfect. So anytime you want to graph the parabola and you don't have anything else to do, always just make a table. Tables always work to solve these problems. And you're going to plug in x values, so you pick these. And then get a bunch of y values, and you can plot them. If you're given something like this, however, y is equal to x minus 2, x plus 3. Now, yes, you could plug in x values, but you're given the zeros. Your zeros from before are x equals 2 and x equals negative 3. So in this case, we probably just want to plot 2 and negative 3. So we'd go to x is 2. And there's 1 point, and negative 3 is right there as another point, and then we need 1 point in the middle. Remember, to find the vertex, we need to average these, so we're going to do 2 plus a negative 3, and we're going to divide it by 2. And this ends up being negative 1/2. So negative 1/2 is going to be somewhere right around here, and we got to plug this in now to find the y. So you're going to have negative 1/2 minus 2, and negative 1/2 plus 3. 3 minus a half is going to be 2 and 1/2. And negative 1/2 minus 2 is negative 2/2. And we still have to multiply this, so I'm going to change these to improper fractions real quick. The answer is going to be negative because these are all, no, this is positive. I take that back. So the answer is going to be negative, and let's make this 2 is 5/2. So 5/2 times 5/2 ends up being 25/4, which is 4 times 6 is 24, so 6 and 1/4. So negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, negative 6, and a little bit. So right about there. And there is our parabola. Okay? Remember, these were negatives because we decided that earlier. At this point, you could use a calculator. You don't need to do this in your head if you don't remember how to do the fractions. But it's always a good idea to practice these fractions because they do appear on the SAT all the time. So if you have any old standard one, you can make a table. If you have it in vertex form, or in factored form, you can do this. And just like we've been doing for the last several weeks, if you have any equation and you can factor it, you can change this form. So you have a choice. You can take these forms and change it into factored form, or you can go to a table. And in either case, your answer should look like one of these, which is a rough sketch. So that's how you factor by hand. Or excuse me, not how you graph by hand, not factor. If you have any questions, please make sure you ask.